Good evening. I'm going to discuss today about relationships, social interactions with other people, not necessarily romantic relationships, and what it's like having a relationship with somebody who has Aspergers, even if it's just a friendship. We tend to be avoidant of others' needs and what the other person is attuned or akin into. And we put it off and we ignore, so we often come off as selfish, self-centered, arrogant, lack of empathy, which is kind of somewhat true because we kind of are all selfish by nature. I mean, I could say that I'm selfish having Asperger's because when I was in a relationship, for instance, I wanted to do things my way because I felt safer that way. I was in my safe zone and my safe haven. And without those things, I felt that I was stripped. I had no worth to myself. My life had no meaning because I had no control of the situation. And it's the same thing with friendships too. That's why we pick all different kinds of people to be friends with. I've been friends with people who were murderers in prison. I've had friends who were Christians, who were church going, and I'm not even into church or religion at all. I can say we're like chameleons. We can basically be friends with anybody who gives us a chance and who listens to us, even just for a lousy 5 minutes. I can be friends with somebody who's, like I said, been in prison, who's a criminal. Or I can be friends with somebody who's a police officer, or a doctor, or a lawyer. Now, how deep the friendship goes is a different story. But in terms of socializing and acquainting myself, I can be acquaintances with almost any type of person. And you can too. Anybody can, to be honest. It's just how you go about things. Childhood will always be the hardest part of having to deal with everything. Because when you're a child, you're coming into yourself and you're learning your identity of who you are and how you want the world to view you and how you view the world. If you've come from an abusive background, like I've had, it'll mess up a lot of things. It'll throw off your equilibrium and your balance. You'll have a hard time figuring things out. And I'm sure a lot of you also come from abusive backgrounds like I've come from. And it's sort of messed up your outlook in life. The good news is there's hope. Your past does not predict your future. What you did yesterday is not going to affect today. And I do mean that. So when trying to be friends with my earliest childhood friendships I can think of was in the neighborhood that we lived in when I was a kid. The house we lived in. There were neighborhood kids that were around the same age as me, maybe a couple years older or younger. And I was very inappropriate. I would be like a pack leader. I would throw sand in kids' eyes because I thought it was funny, even though it wasn't really funny. For some reason in my sick, twisted mind, I thought it'd be funny to throw sand in these kids' eyes and watch them get hurt. I was about 6 years old. I was a bad kid. I was not a good kid when it came to being social. I did a bunch of bad things. When I was in kindergarten, I made the entire class walk a route because of the issues with change and having Asperger's. I couldn't handle or process going an alternate route, going a different route. Like today, I could handle it today because it's part of life. You know, I grew out of that. But for somebody else, like a child growing up, they're not going to understand that unless it's explained to them or someone guides them and shows them. It's important that you have a lot of counseling when you're a kid, because if you don't, you're going to be in a world of shit. Because helicopter parents, they don't know what they're doing. They shelter you. They're very ignorant. They're very stupid. They think they're doing it for the greater good, for the best, for the child's interest, but really they're fucking up that child's life, fucking up your life. You have to be able to step up to your parents and show them that you're independent and that you can take care of yourself and that you don't even need them, if possible. Because if you don't, you're going to have a helicopter parent on your ass until the day you die. it'll ruin your relationship that you have with your parents. Just like, my relationship with my mom was strained a very long time ago. Even though she's disabled now, she still has that same instinct of trying to shelter me and guard me. But I'm almost 40 years old. I don't need anybody to protect me. I protect me. And I've got what I've got to protect myself with. I don't got to worry about anything happening to me bad in the world. I won't necessarily say I have a spiritual faith that guides me, that everything will be okay, but I've got a sense that everything will be okay. I don't worry about what happens out there. I've run into dangerous situations here and there, and you're going to too. It's a part of life. You can't avoid that. But also, you can't live your life in fear and always think that people are out to get you and that something's going to happen. You got to just relax and go with the flow and enjoy yourself. Because in the end, life is very short. We're only here for a short time. We just lost 2 icons in Hollywood. James Caan from The Godfather, Bulletproof, Eraser, Thief, The Gambler, and many other movies just passed away at 82 years old. Tony Sirico, who played Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos, who played in Goodfellas and always cast as mob hitmen, just passed away too today, a few hours ago. Again, life's short. You got to appreciate what you have, and I've not done very much appreciating. I need to start appreciating more, and so do you. But I need to start doing it for myself and for others' sakes too. Because everyone's going to die. Your parents are going to die. We're all going to die. Enjoy what you have. You can't go around being upset and hating your family. Like, I've hated my family for so long. Still to this day, I still hate them because they were never really there for me. My family outside of my mom, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts. I have hatred of them because they were never there for me, and I have abandonment issues, and I feel like they never accepted me or tolerated me just because I was different. They thought me having Aspergers they thought I was demonically possessed. Because in Ethiopia, they got this backwards belief, because it's a backwards country, might I add. They have this spiritual belief that if you're backwards, or if you have some kind of disability, you're possessed by the devil. Because over there, the standards of living are completely different. Now it's westernized and modernized, but back in the day, it wasn't. People were living in fucking mud huts. That's how bad it was. And AIDS was running rampant. If you're a family member from a foreign country, that could also be the issue too, because the culture is different. Having that change of pace coming into another country like America, you're going to have an issue. You're going to wonder why. Physiologically, the change is just too much. No child can handle that. I met a lot of immigrants who are disabled. The change in culture, the change in pace is we're different. We don't think the same way like they do in Mexico or in Africa or even in Europe. We've got different standards of life, different beliefs. We have our own culture. People don't realize American culture is a very big, rich culture, molding everything together. And it's taken many years, taken centuries. And having Asperger's doesn't help. You can grow out of it, I think, and I think it's a possibility. Depending on your life experience, depending on what you've seen, you can get out of it. And your parents won't be on your ass as they were with me. Like in my case, my mom, something bad happened to her. She had a stroke, so she lost the ability to be in control, and I became in control. I didn't necessarily want it to happen that way, but it happened that way. And in some ways I am kind of grateful, but I'm also saddened at the same time because it's deteriorated her health beyond the point. It's deteriorated my health too. Your health is very important. All I can say is, try to take care of yourselves and try to love each other. That's all I can tell you. If you feel something bad happening, just go away. Get away from that element. Whether it's a bad relationship, whether it's family members antagonizing you, get away from them. Don't sit there, don't tolerate it. You don't have to. You're free. You're in America. Land of the free, home of the brave. You don't got to do anything you don't want to do. And that's the bottom line.